Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I still haven't found my glasses that have the proper prescription. It's just to me amazing that those glasses disappeared sort of at 8 o'clock, somewhere between 8 o'clock at night and 8 o'clock the next morning. We've been through everything. Just, it's a mystery anyway. So I find it a little bit difficult to see the camera. So if there's weird facial expressions, that's just because, weird. The world looks weird. I have not had the greatest reading period. I'm feeling kind of, I've got mixed emotions because want to be able to bring to you books that I have read and enjoyed, and reading experiences or ideas about books or something along those lines, and it's just plummeting. So for the month, usually what I do is I have a list of books that I have read over the course of the year, and I've got a ranking of a 2 to 5 as to whether I think that it's a good book or it's not a good book, and chugging along, hit September and I'm down to about 5 books. Hit October, there's nothing in October. Pretty much everything has been put back onto the library pile, with one exception, I guess. This one, I was talking about it a little bit last week. It's The Invisible Library by Genevieve Codman, and I was complaining about series that I would start to read that weren't concluded yet, and I didn't realize this was one of a series. So I believe there are 6 or 8 books in the Invisible Library series, and I have the next one. It's waiting for me at the library. I'm going to go get it after this video, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really nice group of characters, a nice idea in terms of alternate world settings. There's what she's going to end up doing at the end of this book is staying. There's Taz is expressing his opinion of the book reading journey so far too this month. So she's going to continue in her investigation for missing books, and being a bit of a spy and a bit of a thief, and a bit of a callous adventurer. So looking forward to this series, and because they're all out, I feel I can recommend it. So The Invisible Library, worth it. And plus, if you like books and if you like interesting characters, then that's just another reason why it's a nice series. And this one, I could just, honestly, every once in a while, you just want to take a book and tie it to a boulder. Conjure Women by Afia Atakora. Again, one of the ones that I've been waiting 16 million years for. And do you know when I DNF'd it? I decided to give up at page 366. We'd been waiting and waiting for a couple of things to manifest. They manifested in completely the opposite direction than I was expecting. And that wasn't exactly an improvement on the book. Because the book, it's flat. There's really some interesting things going on. The main character is in freedom times in the 1800s in the US. She's an enslaved person, and we see her life as an enslaved child, and then during the war years, and then after enslavement is allegedly over. And yet, of course, there's a cast of characters, yet we just see it's like this. It's kind of like 40 miles an hour. And despite somebody getting into trouble or someone being punished or whatever, still just kind of like, and the road bumps are kind of like a little beaver that we drive over. If you've ever got road bumps in Canada, you know what I mean, or Nova Scotia. Anyhow, it's just like these little long extruded pieces of tarmac that you sort of slide over, and there's a sign that's bigger than the bump that's like this, and it looks like a beaver, so we call them road bump beavers. So anyways, you just kind of go over a road bump beaver, and you don't hurt your tailpipe as you go over, and you're just trudging along, and you come to another little beaver, and Patanka. I just thought, I can't do it. There's over 200 more pages to go, and I just don't care. So that was frustrating. And these are all the books that I've been waiting for from the library, and they're all here but two. And I'm looking at it thinking, boy, I've had such bad luck. And, you know, I really was looking forward to each one of these and thinking, now, like, Nick, I feel kind of singed. Is this going to be just one bad book after another? So, feeling a bit frustrated about that. I have started The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which is a middle reader book. And it's, well, I won't talk about it now because if I DNF it, you won't care. And if it's really good, then finally I'll have some content. Then I went to my book club last night, and we were talking about the book. Oh, I took it upstairs, but I've spoken about it. The Guide to Birds of East Africa, and it's a love story and an adventure story, and I really found it quite charming. And one of the people decided not to read it because when she read the blurb, she thought that this was going to be a bunch of white men lording their colonial positions over through the duration of the book, which is not really what happens. But what was interesting, the discussion point that was interesting was around once you read a book and you have an opinion of it, like this one, I've got an opinion of it. If this was a book club book, I would either just go in and say, I couldn't stand it, convince me why I should finish it, never confessing that I've already returned it and have no intention of reading it. Or I would have read it and just been ready to, like, you know, wail on it. Or loved it. So you go, I, at any rate, go into a book club with one of those three kinds of positions. And then once you talk it up and you hear other people's opinions and so on, the question I had for the group is, does it actually change your reading experience? It can change your opinion on the book, but it's sort of like, oh, now I think it's a better book than it was. And I think, which is the real truth? The one that you came out of the reading experience with, or the one that took 4 people to convince you? And sometimes it's interesting in that you'll get a point that will clarify, like, oh, I didn't realize that person had a brain tumor. I mean, how could you miss that? But you know what I mean. It's like, oh, something enlightens you. Or if you don't know the background history, for instance, and someone will say, oh, well, that's when there was a strike in the coal mines, and so that's why there wasn't very much coal, and that's why there was the tensions. So if the author hasn't delivered all the historical facts, just sometimes the other readers can pick up on these things because they've read more in the genre or what have you. But as we were going through the book about the A Birder's Guide to Birds of East Africa, the lady who hadn't read the book was becoming more and more interested and thought, she's funny, she's like me. Well, I should have read it. I'm not going to now. But it was an interesting question that kind of posed to all of us, especially when it comes to books in the YA genre, the young adult genre, where all of us have read an awful lot in that niche and have become somewhat disenchanted with the way things are going lately. And we're trying to figure out, you know, is it what's currently on the radar of authors, or are we too old? I think the youngest in our group is probably 45. Like, have we just absolutely aged out, which I would find a very sad thing to conclude? Or have we lost that little thing of magic that lets you go back into a book that's for a younger reader and have that kind of thrill of exploration of the story and enjoying the adventure and not doing the author's thinking for them? When I read middle books for the middle readers like this one, I still am able to just go in and enjoy the contents. I don't rarely do I put myself in the shoes of the author. But in YA, I guess because quite often they're so contemporary, if I know something about drug abuse, for instance, in teenagers, I quite often hold the author accountable for the current information that they are having the character experience. And so I'm judging it. But I'm not judging it on personal experience. I'm not out there being 18 and going to a rave party or something, if they're even a thing anymore. and so I feel like these days I'm not very fair to a young adult author. Also, sometimes when they do adventure things, I've occasionally got really irritated at the technology or the logistics. If the logistics of the adventure don't make any sense, like they're managing to carry 3 weeks of food in a backpack for miles and miles every day, I just think, no, you really haven't gone backpacking. So, like, these things interfere with the book, but yeah, so it's just an interesting whirlwind of confusion. Oh, hi, Taz. Yeah, he's become sort of a little bit funny right now. He's much more playful, but in an old man's kind of way. 2 or 3 weeks ago, he would have gone around the lighting steps. This time, he's decided to go under and stand there and flap his tail a little bit so that it's, anyways. He's a bit of a character. And the other one is warming up. The other day, she actually came up onto the bed while I was sitting on the bed, and she sat there for a couple of minutes and let herself be pet. And I thought, wow, that was totally brave of her. So, okay, so I'm wittering on, which is part of why I'm frustrated. I don't have a ton to talk about. One of the books that I have bought for myself, well, no, let's edit that out. So, in addition to these library books, over on the, I don't know if you guys can see them, I don't remember what I set up. This whole pile, there's about 20 books that I own and am not getting to as well. And it's a little bit the same. It's like, oh, I was saving this book for that. I was saving this book for that. And I think I'm going to have to take a different approach. I think what's needed is some kind of a shake-up, time to stand on my head, not literally because I'm too old for that, but something to just shake up my thinking, something to shake up my approach to books. And yeah, if you've got any suggestions, let me know, because I don't think of it as a reading slump in the sense that people will say in their reading slumps, boy, I'm just not in the mood for reading. I am in the mood for reading. I love a good book, but I have, just through one thing or another, become less than, it's not that I'm reading less, it's that I'm getting rid of more books. And so all those hours of reading just seem lost. I guess maybe I should have a separate book, in my list of books that I have read. I should probably have a separate list of books that I have read but let go and how many pages, and so then I can think to myself, oh, actually, I read quite a bit this month. Well, I'm sorry, that's it for me. I hope that your reading week has gone and will go a heck of a lot better. And, me and the gang shall hopefully bring you something way more exciting next week. So I'll hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true, and I'll see you next time. Unless I can think of something amazing, in which case I'll, cut this one out and put in a new video. But don't hold your breaths. Bye-bye for now.